Today's episode of Kory's Rides is going to show you how to replace a door handle in a Ford Ranger. Alright, to remove this door panel, first you need to remove the 2 screws inside the pull handle, and this comes out. And then when you take this bigger piece off, you can just feed this through the open hole. Okay, now to remove this big panel, you need to remove this screw and that screw, and you just rock it back and forth and then lift, and it comes right out. And it does help to have the lock rod down when you do this. Okay, now up here you can see the door handle. Kind of hard to point this out without blocking the camera. That's a rivet that holds it on, and that is one side of the handle. And my issue is that the spring that holds it on broke. And then you can see over there on the left, right there, that is the rod that unlocks, or opens, I should say, opens the door. Okay, a quick note before you take this apart. Make sure your door's unlocked now that you have your door panel off. Make sure your other door is unlocked, because if you take this handle loose, you may not be able to get the vehicle open. Now, what we need to do is drive this little center pin of the rivets in. This will help us greatly in drilling out these rivets. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with just a punch and a hammer, my high precision hammer. Now these little pins, the center part of your rivet, will end up in the bottom of your door. So unless you want a really annoying rattle, make sure you fish these out, which you can easily get your hand way down in the corner. And there is a little drain in the door where they will fall out. If you can't pick them up, you just push them to that, they'll fall out. Next, you're going to want to take a 1/4 inch drill bit and drill the outside of the door. And what you're going to do is drill the head off of the rivet. Now there is going to be debris falling inside the door, so you may want to vacuum out your door or try and blow it out with compressed air as much as possible to avoid rattles in the future. If you did it correctly, you should get 6 of these little tabs. That was what was left of the rivet on the inside. Okay, now it's nearly impossible for me to film this, as far as I can tell. Right there, just to the right of that braided whatever it is, to the left of that big black vertical bar, there's a little black clip around that silver rod. Now you need to rotate that clockwise and get it off of that rod so you can pull that rod backwards towards where the camera is. And that will release the rod that's attached to the door handle. Alright, once that rod is loose of that plastic bracket, just pull the rod back this way, and then it'll be free to pull out. And as you can see over here, my spring broke. That's why the handle's all floppy. So we're going to go ahead and put a new one on. Okay, my new handle is not actually a Ford part, but I checked it out and they're basically identical. So what I'm going to do now is just unhook this from the old one, put it on the new one, and drop the new one in place, fishing this through the door passageway as I go. Alright, once you've got the handle back in and you've got that rod back into the hole and clipped in with that plastic clip, at this time you're going to want to rivet your handle on if you're using a rivet, and the small, like 12-inch residential rivet guns will not do. The rivet gun that puts these handles on is a great big 3-foot long monster. What I'm doing is I'm using a button head bolt and washers and a nylon lock nut, because I do not want this to fall off. Use Loctite if you can't get your hands on these nylon lock nuts. Alright, with the bolts tightened, or if you're using rivets with the rivets in, make sure your door works. Go ahead and close it. Verify that it actually shut. And there we go. Now that I know that it works, I'll put this back down. You may need to use double-sided tape to reapply this, and then you can go ahead and put your door panel back on.